Greetings and salutations, moppers, and welcome back to the Great Aceattorney. Last time, investigation day investigation day 2 for trial number 8, or case 8. We are looking for the engineer who fabricated the miraculous machine of, what is it? Instantaneous kinesis, was it? What's the name? Gregson told us that he's going to France after this case is over, I guess. Or soon-ish. Because reasons. We basically got confirmation that Kazuma is alive and acting as the assistant or apprentice to Van Zieks. And the forensic science symposium is happening next month, I guess. Oh, we also met the coroner for the Scotland Yard. And her daughter? Question mark? Anyways, what did we end up? Oh, right, we're talking to Van Zieks about why Kazuma's with him, I think. Yeah, your apprentice. What is your interest in my apprentice exactly? You act as if you know the man or something. Well,
Since when has he been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago.
Lord Strongheart introduced me to him about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor. But he didn't tell you why, did he? The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. He's forgotten every last detail about himself.
He has amnesia?
Tomorrow he will appear in court at my side.
What?
He is to serve as my judicial assistant on Lord Strongheart's orders.
He'll be in court with us?
Now then, unless I'm much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course. Oh, yes, thank you. I definitely saw a reaction there. When Tsusao-san called out like that, it really seemed to hit a nerve. When she called out Kazuma-sama. Well, I'm just gonna... Wait, he gave us this photograph. I don't need to show him this. No real clues. Well, we can go to the wax museum. Okay, examine that.
Look at that horn-shaped transmitting device. Isn't it amazing?
That's exactly what I thought when I first saw it.
It makes you think, doesn't it? If only it had just been a normal horn, none of this would have happened.
That's almost exactly what I thought as well. I bet I can predict what you're going to say next in that case. You're about to say, nothing ever goes to plan, aren't you?
Oh no, I'll never say something like that.
However much I look at them, I just can't come to terms with those
tamari hand balloons floating in the sky. You've been glaring at them constantly since we came up here.
Sorry. The feeling of wanting to ride in one and wanting never to set foot in one, or fighting it out inside me.
But if you don't look where you're walking, you might fall from the stage.
I don't think I'd notice. That's how fiercely the battle inside me is raging.
I think you should make peace with that with riding on one, Mr. Naruto. It really would be much safer that way.
There has to be another clue, right? This wasn't here yesterday.
Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing before he was apparently beamed through the air.
That's right, the birdcage. According to what Professor Harebrain said in court, it's made of wood.
Or more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. And despite having been in an explosion, and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. What wonderfully durable construction, wouldn't you say, Mr. Naruto?
I'd understood that the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they'd finished their work.
But sadly, not with the body inside it.
No, that's right. I know we were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still. This is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. The birdcage from the machine has been entered for extraordinary. Did I just carry the whole thing? The wooden cage that was used for Professor Harebrain's experiment. This cage, with the victim inside, crashed down into the crystal tower. Ah, that's what's going on.
You'd already met that masked man, hadn't you, Mr. Naruto?
Yes. Yesterday, in fact, at Lord Van Zeke's office.
I see. And if Kazuma-sama really is still alive, it means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us.
I know. We're going to need to speak with him about that. You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems. What sort of problems? Foreign affair problems. Well, we could do without that. Alright, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Miss Susato.
Of course.
Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can do for now. If we could just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Drebber.
I'm sure Dina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, do you think we ought to try to speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? We have things to discuss, and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months.
Yes, it's quite possible he might know something useful. You're right. We ought to find him at Madame Tuspel's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit.
Yes, Iris told me all about his latest unusual adventure.
Indeed. October, Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxworks.
Oh my, no wonder it's called the House of Horrors. I'd like to turn on my heels and go straight home, via the confectionery.
Being scared makes you crave sweets? I can understand that.
But you know, there's something about that waxwork over there. It looks exactly like Mr. Sholmes, down to the very last detail.
Aha!
What is it?
Oh, sorry. I think you'll find that's the temporary waxwork himself.
Ah, this is a friend of my dedicated employee.
Ah, yes. Hello again. It's Renosuke. Renosuke Naruhodo.
I must say, I am quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. My precious waxwork is already back where it belongs.
You don't mean...
But yes, the mystery is solved already.
Wow, Mr. Sholmes can really engage his brain when he's hungry enough.
As you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties.
Yes.
His habitual duties? Alas, do not disturb, huh?
Poor Susao-san. She looks very perplexed.
We really do need to speak with Mr. Sholmes, and I'm longing to say hello again. But where is he?
I think you might find that he's quite nearby, actually.
Oh? What do you... Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I! The world-famous great detective and waxwork, Sherlock Sholmes.
Susao-san! Susao-san!
My most humble apologies. I thought I'd died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment, via London. My dear madame, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty-free deduction at some point.
As long as it's not of questionable street food quality.
I don't understand. Why were you working at the waxwork here, Mr. Sholmes? Merely a secret identity, you understand. Though the case is largely solved now. Largely solved?
We're talking about the waxwork abduction, I presume?
Indeed we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was as easy as proverbial pie. Though I confess, I'm yet to partake of a pie, proverbially or otherwise, or any food for so far today, for that matter.
Oh no. That stomach rumble echoed around the whole museum. So how did you manage to solve it so quickly?
Ah, well, you remember I said it was largely solved. Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone? Oh yes. It's a most modern invention, allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as yet. This morning, a telephone call was received here, from the perpetrator of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate terms, and in the end, the waxwork was returned.
That's amazing!
Just between you and I, it would appear the culprit had always intended to return the stolen waxwork in any event. Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible had demanded a ransom, no? Yes, I think perhaps the ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive. But does that not mean your negotiating was entirely unnecessary? fact that I must ask you to keep from Madame Tussbells at all costs. A hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street, after all.
Or Iris.
Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this great waxwork?
Enoch Drebber. We're in the process of trying to track somebody down.
Oh? Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's the swindler who duped Professor Harebrain, and the engineer who built the kinesis machine. A swindler and an engineer. Quite the marred man.
He's also seems to be a conjurer of sorts too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. But we have so few clues to go on. That's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas?
I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. If I knew something of the man's appearance, at least I may be in a better position to help.
Yes, Drebber's appearance.
Fortunately for you, personally, I have little to occupy myself, and little to fill my stomach. As soon as you find any clue, no matter how small, I should gladly give you my thoughts on it.
Kazma's death. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us?
My dear Mr. Naruto, a piercing stare. What is this about? Last winter, when we were first on board on our way to Britain aboard the steamship. Your words were very clear. So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. You told us that it was murder, and you examined Kazuma-sama's body. Indeed, and wherein lies the problem?
We met him earlier today. The victim, Kazuma Atsugi.
You're quite sure? He was wearing some sort of mask and was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure it was Kazuma-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Jones, that he wasn't actually dead. Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderous atmosphere of the moment. But the fellow wasn't dead at all. Priceless. I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruto?
I could believe that the crewmen present at the time made a mistake.
But not you, Mr. Sholmes. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that.
Please, Mr. Sholmes.
Tomorrow in court, you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that is all I can say.
Definitely involved with the case that Kazuma was investigating. Mr. Sholmes, will you cast your eyes over this photographic print?
It's of Mr. Inoctrable, the face of the engineer we seek. Well, and all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course. So looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive.
Are you alright, Mr. Sholmes? He's part of the case.
Ah, yes. Forgive me. Very interesting, this. Very interesting indeed. What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You've turned quite pale all of a sudden. I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruto. Will you indulge me?
Oh, well, was it?
As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned, and I presently reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains.
Oh, yes, the professor exhibit. Isn't it?
Would you like to see it? For a mere 5 shillings? That's a special one-time only price, you understand?
What?
The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Wouldn't you like to see the fruits of my labor? Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone. The price is a very reasonable 5 shillings. I think you'll find it's well worth it.
Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes?
Surely you need only look at my expression to ascertain if this is seriousness or silliness.
I can never tell with you, that's the point.
Very well. It couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings. Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse it at your leisure. Well, the money's been spent, so let's go and see this special exhibit.
Through those heavy curtains at last. $5 shillings we've had to pay. It doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Sholmes slipped the money into his own pocket, does it?
No. Ah, we could ask Gina to retrieve it for us, using her special skills.
Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives. Is this what makes Great Britain great? Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands, or chip-living inspectors.
Inspector Gregson comes off rather well in that list, I think.
23rd October. Madame Tuspel's special exhibit. Ooh, busy the head.
Oh dear, I felt a shiver run down my spine so soon as you walked in here.
What the? Didn't press anything. Oh, I hit R. That's why I'm. Mr. Sato, I say we turn our heels and go straight home. Via a really big confectionery.
We certainly can't do that. We've paid 5 shillings already.
True. Sholmes. Actually, now I'm looking a little more closely. We paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete.
But
nerve of the great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything in this place. Oh, the diddling detective and a 10-year-old. That's. Truly is one of those things.
This must be what Mr. Sholmes meant when he said the case was largely solved. Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied that there'd be a clue about the engineer in here, didn't he? But where?
Surely it's not this complete statue that's next to us.
Since we've paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shall we? Yes, we will get what we paid for. Is that fear or frustration that's making Susao-san's voice tremble? This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real. It seems to be a young man in a white overcoat. And he has a large shovel in his hand, too. Look. Perhaps we should investigate in a little more detail.
Look at his face. Really?
I can't see his face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just... Oh, do you think we should be manhandling the exhibits, Mr. Naruto? I'll put it back exactly as it was, don't worry. Ah! What on earth? How can... I don't believe it. A black monocle! Mr. Naruto, is it possible that this man is...
Yes. It's Enoch Drebber.
The color of his hair is different, but...
It's unmistakably him.
Indeed it is.
Mr. Sholmes!
This man is the subject of your prison hunt, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? And why does the convict behind him have no head? The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it.
What a surprise.
So then, the case isn't yet solved, is it? Dare not say so myself. Largely solved were my words, I believe. But I must locate the missing head. Too sweet. As Madame would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. A very hungry artist still awaits my return to Baker Street, preferably with rations. Ugh. Do you notice, though? Something about this room is strange.
Strange? What do you mean?
Well, the displays in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real events, are they not? Indeed they are, Mrs. Sato. Do go on. And as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one... This surely couldn't ever really have happened, could it? I think it's time I educate you a little. About the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago.
Yes. Perhaps we could have led to this instead of making us pay 5 shillings.
I believe I told you a little about the professor yesterday, did I not? who took the lives of 5 victims, every one being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their bodies.
Huh. I suppose that's the Hound of Baskerville then.
Oh gosh, an enormous hound? How awful. After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain. You understand. Accordingly, the professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted.
A closed court. So you mean that the professor's identity?
As you surmise, my dear fellow, his identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty and was summarily sentenced to death by hanging. He was buried in a grave at Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins the rear of the prison, where he had been held. However, that was not the end of the affair. Oh. The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life.
Came back to life?
He clawed his way out of the ground and emerged into the moonlit graveyard. The exhibit here depicts that very scene, as described by the sole witness to those chilling events.
There was a witness?
But of course, my dear fellow, it was none other than the young man in the white overcoat. Enoch Dribber. He saw it happen.
Got a little snack, feeling a little winded after all that talking. Huh. Alright. The young witness. So this is a waxwork model of Enoch Dribber.
10 years ago, the convicted professor, having been gibbeted and buried, emerged from his grave in the dead of night. The sole witness to that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old. It's so horrifying. Scared out of his wits, the young Dribber ran into a nearby police station.
What the? Ah, damn, I hit it again.
To report the incident. And the sheer terror of what he'd seen is said to have turned his hair white overnight. Yes, as shown in the photograph we have of him. His hair is completely white. For the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every front page in the capital. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was even created here at Madame Tuspel's. I can quite understand why the man's hair turned white, certainly. But what I don't understand is what Mr. Drebber was doing in the first place. In a lonely graveyard in the middle of the night. Yes. What was he up to?
Following the execution.
The professor's acts of terror threw London's upper classes into complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one may say, at the very highest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumors abounded. After all, no killer had ever been before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of murder. Yes, I can imagine the impact the case must have had. But in time, of course, the rumors abated. So too did talk of the shocking witness account of the convict who came back to life. It was forgotten, dismissed as a dubious ghost story, as preposterous as a preposterous parlor tale. But why did people stop believing it? Why, simply because there was no resurrection to speak of. As was established, in fact.
What do you mean by no resurrection?
The police investigated the grave in Lowgate Cemetery and published their findings. The convict's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been following the execution. No. But that would mean Mr. Drebber must have lied to the police and the newspapers. That would appear to be the only logical explanation. The young man subsequently vanished from society, and nothing has been heard of him since. It's rather striking, then, that he should preserve us now, don't you think?
Of course, the convicted murderer couldn't really have come back to life. That's not possible. But Drebber's hair is unusually white, and if that really did happen overnight as a result of shock, it's hard to believe the incident was an out-and-out lie. I think he wants me to present something. Oh, okay.
Odie Asman. Yes, a fearsome adversary.
What? You mean you fought him?
I once infiltrated his criminal organization in order to investigate the man and his activities. But he saw through my disguise instantly. I still remember what the man said to me now.
What was it?
Whoever saw such a tall old lady?
Old lady?
Indeed, but my special disguise hasn't seen the light of day again since that humiliation. Miss Minicle is retired.
Miss Minicle? Mrs. Minicle? I would give my right arm to see that. Okay. Mr. Sholmes, can you look at this photograph again?
I see. So that's it.
What? Have you worked something out?
There is indeed one deduction to be made from this photograph, yes. Each time you show it to me, it will cost you 5 shillings. Otherwise, I have nothing to add.
Wonderful. And nothing for me to take away either. Okay, there's still something here I need to do. What's not here?
Well, this would appear to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera.
A camera? But it's so small. British technology is amazing, incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Sholmes' skin print?
I think perhaps you should treat Mrs. Sholmes' inventions as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera?
I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment a dead body came back as a ghost on film.
Let's just borrow this for a little while, I think.
Wouldn't that be just a replica? Why would it be the real thing?
By looking at the photographic plate inside the camera, we can see what picture was taken.
What's a photographic print plate?
It's a piece of glass coated in a special emulsion that reacts to the light coming in through the lenses. If you open the cover at the back of the camera, we should find it. Let's have a look.
You should see yourself, Susan. Your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? Oh look, the cover came open.
Yes, now there should be a glass plate inside. You have to change the plate with each new photograph you want to take, you see?
Is something wrong?
There is no plate. It's been removed.
Ah, what a pity. I suppose if you think about it, this wouldn't be the actual camera that was used at the time. Just like the waxwork isn't the actual person. So we'd never have found a photographed print of the executed convict coming back to life anyway.
Oh, yes, you're quite right, of course.
Poor Sutao-san. She looks devastated.
This must be the killer, the fiend known as the Professor.
Yes, I think so. According to what Madame Tuspel said, he killed 5 victims, all of noble or royal blood.
The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the malls in this place.
I know. It looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only it had a head, that is.
perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. So this is the condemned man?
Yes, the so-called professor.
Then perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine. But unable to find peace, he emerged from his grave as a headless ghost.
Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Mrs. Sato? Anyway, I'm sure the mall once had a head once. There's a male fitting for it, see?
Then perhaps Mr. Sholmes absent-mindedly forgot to reattach it?
That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it?
Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum?
And that would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Well, whatever the reason, it means we don't have what the face of the infamous professor looked like, do we? Oh. There's something caught just inside the convict's jacket here. It looks like a piece of broken glass. Quite a big piece, too.
It's very thick, isn't it? About five times thicker than normal window glazing, I'd say.
Where could such a thick piece of glass have come from, I wonder?
I suppose it must have been made thick to increase its strength. But why? Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area, such as in a big building, for example.
Ah, well, we've seen a large glass building recently, haven't we? And some of the glass is broken too.
You don't mean...
Exactly. The Crystal Tower at the Great Exhibition.
But why would glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged inside this waxworks jacket?
It makes you think, doesn't it? The VTuber broken glass and entered into record. Earlier in court, we established that the kinesis experiment was a trick. And now we discovered this fragment of glass here in this waxwork. Is it just a coincidence? This piece of glass is almost as thick as it is wide.
Yes, I've never seen anything like it.
If you were to compare it to a human, only Mr. Sholmes has such thick skin.
There's really no need for such a comparison, Mr. Naruto, as you well know.
Anyway, it can only be from the Crystal Tower, surely.
Yes, I think so too. It was probably made especially to meet the demands of that great structure. Ah! What, Leonora? No, Odo? What have you gone? What have you gone done?
Dina, what are you doing here?
I asked Iris, and she said this is where you be. So, Gina, not so loud in the museum. Madame Tuspel will have you take a position at the waxwork if you're not careful.
I think there might be a more pressing concern.
I still had some flash powder left from 6 months ago, so... Alright, Gina, we understand. But please, put the gun down. Sorry, I got scared.
You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. Wow, you should be the one trying. You should try being the one on the other end of the. alphabet soup. You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So, what brings you here, Gina?
What brings me here? What'd you think? We found it. We found the Dodgy Cove's workshop.
What? You found Drebber's workshop?
Yep. Dobby's nose took me straight to there. The boss and the others are heading over there now in a drag. So come on. Here's the address. I got the boss to write it out. Oh, thank you, Gina. We'll make our way there at once. Alright then. See you there. You go. Don't mind me. I'll stay here, being still.
What?
I know my place. In the exhibit over there. Oh dear. Someone's feeling sorry for himself.
Let's go, Mr. Sholmes. You're coming.
Your words hearten me, I must say. But if I were to shirk my duties here, Madame would have me pay monetary recompense, and Arce's dinner would be empty once more.
Forget that. I'll pay for everything.
Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail a carriage at once.
No offer to share the cost from Mr. Sholmes, then.
I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Naruto.
Thank you, Mrs. Sato. Right, let's go. Wait, half the carriage cost or half for dinner? Or is she paying the carriage cost and not paying for dinner? 23rd October, Enoch Drebber's workshop. That looks like...
Oh, another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Indeed, it would appear so, though only a prototype, naturally. Ah, so you got here then. Gina, well done finding this place. And in such little time. You've really worked miracles. It's Toby, who's the miracle worker.
Oh, it's Grayson allergic to dogs. Ah! I thought you lot will show up before long. Hello, Inspector. That's one knitted brow. He looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of fish and chips.
So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer?
Sadly not. We didn't find a stone here.
Oh, what a shame.
Well, thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us the chance to investigate. According to what Gina tells me, we once found that thanks to a clue you lot turned up. I wouldn't want to say go to Paris with a debt of gratitude unpaid now, would I? Thank you. Anyway, if you're hoping to snoop around in here, I get cracking. Lord Van Zeeks and the forensic team are on the way here as we speak. Tell me again. I imagine you got the picture by now. They don't take too kindly to lore types. Which seems pretty BS. Right.
So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down whilst we have the chance.
And you, Sholmes.
Pardon?
They take even less kindly to great detectives than they do to lawyers.
Ah ha 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 ha. Very droll, Gregson, very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model.
Right then. Let's see what we can find here.
sorry, Mr. Naruto. The machine is covered by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. There would be serious repercussions if you were to examine it from the Crown and the government.
Well, those two don't seem to be holding back.
It's quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of deception is to be seen, my dear fellow. No loose change dropped on the floor, nothing. Not even a bone for Toby here, my dear fellow. British people are very much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they?
I think that's just these two, Mr. Sato. Arrows! This is... It's a European style quiver of arrows with steel bolts inside.
Oh, do you suppose?
Crossbow bolts these. And just the right size for the bow you lot turned up at the exhibition grounds. In other words. Yup. That's more evidence to support your theory. It all goes to show that Drebber was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes of the whole scam. The details of the crossbow have been updated per record. It belongs to Mr. Enoch Drebber. He was #1!
Ah, this appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed, would you say?
It's an impressive looking back massager, that's for sure. I've no doubt that if you hit your shoulders a few times with this, your aches and pains would soon go away.
It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. A young scientist could wish for no higher honor.
Ah.
Would you like a massage?
No, I'm fine. Thank you. Save that for later tonight. I had no idea it was such a grand thing.
I think it's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Mr. Enoch Drebber than conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madame. And how about you, Mr. Naruto? Would you like to take it with you?
For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not going to let that go, is he?
It's a curious thing, though, isn't it? You would expect such an important trophy to be probably on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery sometimes, at times.
There's a little metal plaque here. Look. Fostering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery.
It seems rather ironic, doesn't it?
But clearly Mr. Drebber really was a very talented scientist. Or con artist, very young. So it doesn't open. This door doesn't want to open.
Yeah, looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it.
There's a specialist locksmith on his way over here from the yard, so hands off till you get there.
With permission, Inspector, I could have that lock open in less than a minute.
Well, you don't have permission, and no one's giving it to you, do you? Gregson looked as though he really enjoyed that.
Well, there's no sound of anybody on the other side. No, Dripper must have fled at the first sign of danger.
Or not?
Oh. Is something wrong, Mrs. Sato? Well, I thought I heard a noise from the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too? Yeah. I heard it not. Heard it and all. What you reckon, Toby?
Right, mind the grease. Whoever's in there, open up. This is Scotland Yard. And he escaped. Good job, guys.
Someone is in there.
This rotten bleeding lock.
My dear Gregson, this said only minutes ago. If only it were countenance, I could unlock that door in less than a minute.
Fine. I'll take the rap for it. Just get through that blasted door.
There! You may enter at will.
You've confused minutes with seconds, I think.
Time's of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for?
Nothing for it then. Nothing for it, I suppose. This is an emergency.
There's a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you all seek. Be prepared for action, my dear fellow.
Yes. Finally. Someone else gets this Usara-san take down. That bomb? What? What's happened here? Why is everything upside down?
Nuts! There ain't no one in here after all. But there must be. It was only moments ago that we heard the noises.
Maybe that was the sound of Trevor running away.
But there's only one door to his room. And no windows that could afford an escape room. Those skylights are too high.
What's that up there? Are they footprints on the ceiling? Blow me! What have we here then? The bomb? The bomb that everyone's ignoring? Looks like someone was trying to burn something in a hurry.
Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints.
What? Do that Professor Hairbrain's bombing machine, is it? Blimey! If we had those, there'd have been no need to muck about trying to investigate all that scrap metal.
There's something of great interest here, too. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar.
A rope? What's significant about that?
Never mind. You see, but you do not observe, Mr. Naruto. We must investigate the entire room thoroughly before the forensic investigation team arrive too.
So either he built a device that flips the whole room around, or... I got it. That's a really lovely model. It looks just like a real flying balloon.
I think it's probably staying aloft on the same principle as a full-size balloon from gas.
A green flying balloon. It does have the hallmarks of that amazing deception that at the Great Exhibition, doesn't it?
Could it be that the whole thing was planned here in this very workshop? Almost every piece of furniture is upside down. Even Mr. Showham's suite isn't ever in this much of a mess. You're in no position to comment on mess, Mr. Naruto. But I suppose it's not quite the same thing, is it? I mean, it's not messy in here per se, it's that everything is literally upside down. But why? I mean, other than the safe, which is bolted down. That's a very large safe. I don't suppose even Mr. Sholmes could open that lock. Although, if you were a thief, you could just steal the entire thing, I suppose. It's bolted to the floor to prevent exactly that sort of underhand trick, Mr. Naruto. Well then, you could just steal the floor as well, I suppose. I'm sorry, but you really aren't making any sense at all. Anyway, I think we can agree that whatever is inside must be very important. There's no denying it, is there? Their footprints. Yes, it would appear so. And I simply can't imagine how they could be there. Isn't there a Susao shoot up or something? Like a Susao takedown, I mean? I'm no Wonder Woman, Miss Naruto. That would make her almost superhuman, I suppose. Mr. Sholmes? Have you found something? Ah! It's Naruto, yes. In point of fact, something rather fascinating. What do you make of this? Let's see. I've never seen anything like it before. It looks like... Oh... We didn't know what it was. It looks like a bundle of thick cigars wrapped in a huge watch to me, but... Ah! Mr. Sato! What's the matter? Surely that's a time bomb, is it?
What did you say?
A time bomb? Sorry, but... What is a time bomb exactly?
Eh.
Ah! Ha 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 ha! You truly are one of a kind, Mr. Naruto. I won't take that as a compliment. Ah! You don't know nothing. Nothing, do ya, Odo? You haven't got a clue what it is either, have you, Jim? I invite you to consult a dictionary later, Mr. Naruto. But this particular specimen is no time bomb, though I must confess, it has a very similar appearance. Oh, well, thank goodness. But then, what is it? I see. So that's it. Goodness, Mr. Sholmes, have you seen to the heart of the matter? There are times when I consider my lot most unfair. For I am fated never to know how it feels to flounder as you do when a puzzle presents itself.
Okay, rude.
But I have learned to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Mr. Sato.
Here we go. I feel a great deduction coming.
Once again, I can draw two conclusions from the scene we see before us. The first is that the inverted nature of the furniture in this room is the work of Trevor himself. Oh, but how could you? And the second conclusion is that the small device on the floor is without question completely genuine. Please, Mr. Sholmes, you must explain everything.
So is a bomb.
would it be a pleasure? After all, it is a great detective's civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade.
So frumpy. Well, Inspector Gregson seems delighted with the idea, anyway.
Ah ha 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 ha! Oh, you deflected the inspector's glare with such fortitude there, Mr. Holmes. Well done. You're too kind, my dear madame. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. Kindly stand there, Mrs. Shadow. Oh, yes. I'd be delighted. So, shall we begin? Once again, Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
The Great Deduction.
The game is afoot. Topic 1. Flipped. Furniture. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table, the chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had, until recently, been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room is on the ceiling. Oh, are you just suggesting that? Indeed, the key here. Is gravity. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. For the gravity in this room was reversed, and then suddenly restored to normal. Goodness! The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business.
Ooh, getting sleepy.
I quite understand your skepticism, Mrs. Sato. I too was incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this. An anti-gravity device, almost identical to one that featured in a dream of mine only the other day, in fact. But then why does it have a clock on it? A most relevant question indeed. That the timing device that controls when the gravity direction will switch. There was clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore gravity to normal automatically. And the commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the of the door was the moment the restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. So you see, we need look no further to explain the state in which we find ourselves in this room. We now find this room. The direction in which gravity acts in here was reversed by Mr. Trevor before being restored to normality in an automatic fashion sometime later by the timer device. I have witnessed precisely the scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed.
Topic 2. Missing engineer.
Now, let's consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer's friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his action is above our heads. Yes. How is it possible that there are footprints all the way up on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madame. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Of course, Drebber's aim was singular to escape. However, there is but one way into this room, excepting the skylight, that is. Ah. By inverting the gravity in here, Drebber was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling and make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on the way.
There, I am. I gotta sleep as soon as we stream.
But the ceiling in here is very high, Mr. Jones. If the gravity reversal was sudden, wouldn't Mr. Drebber have fallen up to the ceiling rather violently? Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered, with nowhere to run, so escape through the skylight was his only option. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? By anchoring one to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Which explains how Drebber was able to escape this room before our arrival. He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now, just for fun.
Whoa, wow, I get lightheaded.
Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deductions of this topsy-turvy puzzle.
Alright.
She's completely spellbound.
Mr. Sholmes? There's just one thing that troubles me.
I will expect nothing less. You're destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life.
The thing is such a thing actually possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean?
I would say that with man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 20th century, it's no more possible than instantaneous kinesis.
But your whole deduction hinges on it!
Ah, but my dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. However improbable it may seem. It's a marvelous line, would you agree? One of my more enduring pearls of wisdom. I had ours come up with the exact phrasing. My original was clumsy.
Yes, I have a feeling I've read it. In something that Mrs. Saw once let me.
Objection!
Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Schultz.
Ah, the spell's broken at last.
The rope we found was on the floor, wasn't it? Indeed it was. Lonely coiled near the wall. But if Mr. Drebber had used it to escape in the way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall? Mysteries inevitably unravel in the end, as I think you'll find through ropes. And as evidence of such, you need only look at the mystery we face in this room, now skillfully unraveled.
That argument
is as circular as the coils of rope. I think perhaps we might need to give Mrs. Sholmes the usual little helping hand. I'm sure with minor corrections, the great deduction will lead us to the truth.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, we must do it quickly. Before, Dripper gets too far away.
If you're ready, then let's resume. Sherlock Sholmes, logic and reasoning spectacular.
Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Topic 1. Flip furniture. Conclusion. This gravity was reversed.
It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table, and chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had, until recently, been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that? Indeed, the key here is gravity. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. For the gravity in this room was reversed, and then suddenly restored to normality. Goodness! The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth. The part gravity played in this whole business. To think gravity could have been reversed in this very room. I find the whole thing utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could conceive of such an explanation.
But the man himself admitted that it was a scientific impossibility, so...
Yes, you're quite right. We must complete this account the idea once.
Oh, that's unusually merciless of you, Mr. Sao.
When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The great detective himself said so, didn't he?
While refusing to part with his dreams of anti-gravity devices.
Yes, I suppose so.
Well, let's see if examining the topsy-turvy scene is a little more closely reveals some proof that shows exactly what the gravity in this room was or wasn't doing. Well, I wasn't expecting to find a pretty bunch of flowers in here, that's for sure.
Ah, look at that.
I know. The slender little vase looks like it's about to topple at any moment. But the flowers are thriving. Somehow it makes you think of the fragility of life, wouldn't you say?
To be honest, Mr. Naruto, something else about it made a rather deeper impression on me.
Ah, look, Mr. Sao. When everything seems to be upside down here, this safe is conspicuously the right way up. Have you noticed?
Yes, that's true. Look more closely at the safe's feet.
Ah, a lot of very large bowls fixing it to the floor. Think before you speak.
That's what you wanted to say, isn't it? I really put my foot in my mouth there. I certainly didn't say that.
Upright face. Oh, whoop. I was one through.
Take that!
The upright vase clearly reveals truth. The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business.
Upon my word, Mr. Naruto, you surpassed yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps?
No one is trying to steal your spotlight here, Mrs. Sholmes, trust me.
As you really say, though it appears at first glance that all the furniture in the room is upside down. This unassuming slender vase is standing keenly to attention. And unlike the large safe, there is nothing affixing it to the floor. And it's the exception that breaks the rule. In short, as much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never inverted at all.
My deepest sympathies for your loss.
Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes. But the show must go on. So, let's continue with our deductions. Now that we know this contrivance is not in fact an anti-gravity device, there remains but one other possibility.
You don't say.
Someone deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in here.
Which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that?
Quite, and naturally, there is an explanation. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned up and down is because of the anti-gravity device. He's absolutely determined that this device must have something to do with it, isn't he? I'm afraid the lure of an exciting scientific explanation is too strong.
Well, there's no doubt that somebody did this. Somebody turned all this furniture over. So whoever it was must have had a reason.
I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though.
Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. A safe combo. Did he just forget what his safe combination was? Look, there's something written on the underside of this armchair.
Oh yes, safe 432582.
Safe? As in safe and secure?
As in secure lockable box, I think.
Admittedly, more likely.
Well, there is a large safe bolted on the floor on the other side of the room, so yes.
So you mean this number would let us open it?
I wonder why it's written here, though. Take that!
Yes. The reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination.
Precisely. I believe, Mr. Naruto, that you had a very similar experience once, did you not?
Yes, last year. When I bought a lottery ticket and noted the ticket number down on the inside cover of my book just in case.
That's it. For people are forgetful souls at heart, and always make a written note of important information. Just keeping the ticket safe itself would be more sensible, I think. And what, pray, happened next, Mr. Naruto?
When the day of the draw came around, I forgot which book I written the number in, and had to turn my whole room upside down to find it.
That's it. For people who are forgetful souls at heart, and always forget where they noted things down. Not if you always note things down in the same place.
I actually won the second prize, you know. I couldn't remember which magazine I slipped a ticket into.
Thank you, Mr. Naruto. I believe I've proved my point now. Which is that a very similar scenario has clearly unfolded in this room.
Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant of this room needed the combination code. He remembered that he'd written it on the underside of a piece of furniture, but forgotten which one. Leading to the state in which we now find the room. Yes, Mr. Drebber overturned all the furniture in here in a desperate hurry to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe. Conclusion: to find the safe combination. Top 2, missing the engineer. Conclusion: escape via Scotland.
Now, let's consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads. Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madame. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the skylight, the nearby skylight. Well, if a change in the direction of gravity can explain it, then how did those footprints get there?
Yes, I feel as though that particular mystery has just become even harder to solve.
I can't think of any other way to explain it at all.
Ooh.
Oh, life was so much simpler in the high-climbing days when gravity could be reversed.
It was a minute ago, and those Hellclon days never existed in the first place.
Well, I suppose we must simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe the area in more detail.
Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us into these situations in the first place.
Take that!
Oh, goddamn, I had to examine it first. Being able to fly freely in the sky. That has been mankind's dream for centuries. And of course, the balloon is the invention that made that dream come true. Mr. Drebber, clearly a man of dreams, used the balloon to ascend to the ceiling and plant his feet on the roof.
I take no pleasure in delivering bad news, but the undeniable truth is, it's clearly too small.
What? I knew you were going to say that.
My dear fellow, then you are twice the fool. If people could fly in such small balloons, why would anybody ever manufacture larger ones? I despair at your lack of common sense at times. I despair of your lack of common sense at times, Mr. Naruto.
That really hurts coming from you. Those footprints up there on the ceiling really are a puzzle.
And they're so close to the skylight. It really is very hard to believe the two are unrelated.
But perhaps we needed to approach this from a different angle. How is this you up there? This is a gas balloon, isn't it? It's tiny, but it does seem to be a real balloon.
Yes, I think you're right. I think it's helium that's keeping it up.
A green gas balloon. Why does that seem to ring a bell with me?
If you can see, there are footprints on this balloon too. Look.
Oh yes. Surely that's a clue, isn't it? Though what it tells us, I'm not sure. It's hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there. Look.
Oh yes, and there are more footprints on this little balloon too. Perhaps the shoe was thrown up there and became lodged, do you think? If so, then judging from the number of footprints, it must have been thrown up several times. Why would anyone be throwing shoes up on the ceiling, though? Oh dear, that's beyond me, I'm afraid.
Take that!
The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. And on closer inspection, there are clearly footprints all over the balloon as well. In other words, the aim was never for the skylight at all, but the balloon.
But for what purpose? A green balloon. That seems to be somewhat familiar data. Ah! It was a piece of green balloon's envelope that Mr. Naruhodo and Iris found at the scene. And inside the green balloon that Master Gotts claims he saw above the stage when the incident occurred. And with the second birdcage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception. You mean to say? If we assume the balloon here is a model of the one used on the day, there's a strong possibility that something may be concealed inside it. Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making a hasty getaway. But the balloon's out of reach. But the balloon's out of reach. Hence why he resorted to a projectile, namely the shoe. Most probably, Jumper intended to tear a hole in the envelope by sealing it with the shoe. However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became a prisoner to those lofty heights. Oh dear, we just need to examine that balloon. If only there was some way we could see inside it. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? Mr. Holmes has managed to bring the deduction back to the rope. Alright, I have to admit, that was clever. So, we just throw the rope up to the balloon and then pull it down to us on the ground? Which is much easier said than done, I feel. And could take us a very long time as well. True. Perhaps we need a more surefire method. In fact, we already have one, of course, don't we?
Take that!
Crossbow! To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this crossbow?
That was found at the scene, in fact.
And in all likelihood, belongs to Mr. Drebber.
If the man had only brought it away with him on that day, he could have avoided losing his shoe at such a critical time as this. So, shall we?
I don't know how much longer we have, and I'm really sleepy. We're gonna find out what's in the balloon next time. Because I need to go sleep. Alright then. I think that'll be the end of the investigation for today, and then we'll go on to the next court trial. And who knows how long that's gonna take. But until then, thank you everyone for joining me today, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye!